All right. Hello, 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 people. All right. The normal thing, as I always do, making sure the video's coming through and the audio is coming through. For those that are here, if you can put in the chat, give me a thumbs up that is working for you, just so I know, and then I can start diving into what I'm going to work on today. For this, that would be great if you could do that. I'd appreciate it, letting me know, because for me it's looking like we're good to go. Everything seems to be running fine on my side as far as I can see, what I know. So the only other way I can verify is going on the channel itself. So if you could help me out, let me know, be grateful. Where'd you go? There you are. I lost you guys for a second there. Okay. So as always, I'm going to continue my journey here with the X-Wing and making this. Again, I'm kind of in the stages where I'm just trying to block things out and making sure I got all my proportions and the sizing of everything correct. Is really the best way to go about this. I'd say I think I'm a little too deep on the wings before doing all this, because I think I'm going to make the wings a little bit bigger here when we move on. Again, my ultimate goal is here, I want to 3D print this. I don't plan to make a really big 3D print, so I'm probably going to need to beef up some stuff here even a little bit. We'll see once I start getting going here and looking at everything. But today I want to definitely get to all the paneling that's on the main portion that I have here. So right along this whole main portion. So again, if you have questions or things that you want to know, by all means, please do fire away. I have the chat open on my other monitor above my Cintiq that I'm using. What's happening, Matthew from Texas? Thanks for joining. So I'm assuming everyone hears me fine and sees me fine, so that's good. Okay. So I want to do, again, this is a little bit of a technique for me. I am trying to, whenever I'm making something, especially something hard surface, because hard surfaces, I think, got a little bit of different animal to it, because if something's off, like organic, like if the ear's too small on a human, or the nose, like it's an easy using the move brush kind of moving around because it's organic. Hard surface isn't going to work that easy because you have very defining items, i.e. something that is a sphere needs to stay a sphere, something that's cylindrical needs to stay cylindrical, so you can't just push and move it around. It doesn't work. So again, I have a handy dandy X-Wing in my hand here. I'm going to use this to be my reference instead of images. I can definitely look at images. I'm pretty much relatively copying this one for the most part and just doing my own version and then going on this at it. So I'm going to start doing the paneling here, okay? And I'm going to do a little trick for me to do this. I'm going to see how much I can really see what I want to look at in here. Okay. All right. I'm going to work symmetrical. I'm going to start looking at this. Some of this could be the way they had to manufacture it, this particular piece. So this is where I'll probably bring in a reference and I'll double check things as we go. All right. So let's go, and then feel free to ask away as I'm moving along. Okay, so I've got this model right now. I'm going to duplicate this just so I can mess with this a little bit. So I'm going to duplicate this one, and I'm going to rename this. Let's name this Painted. So I'm going to rename this. Hold on, I got my Painted, not Painter, Painted Body. Okay, as an example. So now I'm going to move forward with this. So I'm going to start using painting. Okay. Hold on. There's a friend of mine asking for sort of the stream. 1 second. Okay. All right. Here we go. Okie dokie. So I'm going to take this, and let's just solo this out for now so we can take a look at this. I'm going to get a little more smart about this because I could use Sculptures Pro for this for sure, but I want to maybe this is just in general stuff that you guys would be able to do. I'm going to start polygrouping some of this stuff off just to help me. So I'm going to use the ZModeler brush and polygroup, and in this case I'm going to do Flat Island. Okay, so let me show visually, you guys can see it better. There we go. Maybe not, because now my head is in the way. Let's do this. All the graphical elements. There we go. That I have. Okay, so I'm doing polygrouping Flat Island. I'm going to come out of perspective. I want this to be a different polygroup. Okay. I'm going to say I definitely want this to be a different polygroup here. Let's say that. This paneling, let's make that be a different polygroup. There for sure. Okay. Let's add it in here. So let's make that different polygrouping right now. Let me see what we're getting here. Okay. So I'm going to switch to QMesh, and now I'm just going to paint some polygroups in here. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste just to kind of make the same line, everything the same polygroup. So I would say I want these to be a different polygroup. I want these to be a different polygroup than those. Let's make these be different. Let's make these be different as well. Okay, that works for me. I would say let's make all of these be different as well. So just using ZModeler to kind of copy paste polygroups and looking at the plane shifts that I have here that we have. So we'll make all of this the same polygroup for now too. Okay, I think as far as the outside part of the body goes, that's good. This can stay like that, and then let's take the time to make these be different polygroups for sure. Okay, and this is all going to be one plane here, and for the sake of that, okay, let's do the same thing here in this ridge. All right, that one can stay that blue, that's fine. Then we'll do this. And then this. Okay. All right, we're good. Oh, no. I don't like what happened right there. We don't want that. We want this to be red. Okay, something like that. Okay, good, and good. Okay. For the sake of just trying to get as much topology as possible out there, I'm also going to insert multiple edge loops. But I'm going to keep the polygrouping. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to put some more edges in here. I'm going to do the same thing along this. Just have some more topology in there. This one I can't do because it's got triangles. So I can't do that one. I'm going to leave that alone. Just so there's more topology. So now I'm going to turn on my dynamic. So I have this dynamic on. Right? And in fact, let's also make this be a different polygroup as well. Let me double check everything. Okay, yes, that's good enough. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. And so now I'm going to apply my dynamics. So I'm going to actually turn this into real topology. So it's at 403,000 polygons. And let's go ahead and Z-remesh this. I'm going to go a lot higher polygon count. I'm going to start at 20,000. I'm going to use keep groups as well. I don't need it to smooth because I'm not using a Dynamesh. And I'll keep it symmetrical. And so I'll let ZBrush now, okay, do their mesh. Okay, and also as I move along here, I'm a big save next person. So there'll be times where I'll just click this. Right, and about saving iteration. So this is going to go to my hard drive where I'm saving all this. I actually have an external hooked up to my system right now, so I can always be portable with this model. And then it's automatically going to continue. As you can see that this, it says underscore 65. So I save again, it'll automatically be changed to underscore 66, then 67, so forth and so on. I can't stress saving an iteration so much. It's super important. Right, so let's go ahead and let's see what we get. Let's Z-remesh this. Let's see what we get from this. I don't need perfection here. I just want to have something that's a little bit better, okay? We're getting an error message, so there's something wrong with the topology. So let's just see if it finds anything in here. No, let's see. Let's do a fixed mesh anyways. Let's see what we can get. Might be something with the triangles. Let's see what we get. Okay, yeah, it's a boarding. So it doesn't like it. So I'm going to just then, I'm going to go ahead and Dynamesh this. Let's just change all the topology. So with the resolution or the picker, I'm going to go to a more dense area, which is in here. I'm going to click and drag. And then this is looking, as you see, as I move around, it's looking at polygon size, right? So where there's more smaller polygons, the resolution changes in size, okay? So wherever it is. So I say here, 500 is probably enough. Let's Dynamesh this. I don't want to keep the subdivision levels. So now I have see the same thing, but now it's new topology. And the reason why I took the time to do polygrouping is then the Dynamesh part also see now gives me polygroups like this. So I'm going to come into deformation. I'm going to do this slider polish by groups. And you can see it starts to clean things up. So I'm going to do it really strong. I'm going to open up this circle. So there's a closed circle and open circle. That means there's two different algorithms. Okay, and then I'm going to say, let's go ahead and polish that. So I just want to get clean polygroups for me. Okay, like this. All right, now let's try the Z-remesh with this topology. And then see what we get, because my other topology, the remesher, did not like. So let's see if I can get something from this one. So instead of me trying to fix the topology, I'm seeing what I can get. Yeah, so it does not like this mesh at all. Let's try. I'm going to hold the Alt key and see what I get. I don't even necessarily need to do this, but I'm just trying to see what I can get here. We're letting this go as we move along here. Okay, it's airing out. All right, so forget it. We're not going to do it. All right, so I am going to deformation this more. There, okay, let's just make it a little bit more clean. I can really see the lines now. Okay. Okay, so all I'm caring about, in fact, I probably wanted to make different polygroups through here, actually. So I want this. We'll just keep it like this. All right, and we'll delete. Okay, and I'm going to switch to the paintbrush here. I'm going to fill this with white color. So I got the white color right here. Right, so color, fill the object. And now I'm going to switch it to black. And then now I can paint like this with black. I'm going to go a lot smaller draw size. I just need little lines like that. Okay, and in this case, I'm going to throw on Sculptris Pro as well, so I can kind of get a little bit more of a consistent stroke. And then since I'm using a pen, I am going to, in the brush palette right now for this particular one, I want to look at the tablet pressure and see what I'm using. And you can see there is RGB intensity, size intensity, everything's can be adjusted based upon my pressure sensitivity. So for what I'm doing, I'm going to make this be, I want no change here. And I'm going to reset this down to this and say no change. So no matter how hard I press, how strong I press, it doesn't matter. And then I'm getting also a consistent stroke, right? And then now if I'm doing lines, I'm going to get like a consistent stroke of things that I want to follow. Again, I'm not really too concerned about the quality here. I just want to kind of have some lines. And so now what I'm going to do, looking at this, so if we V-flip it, right? There are panels that happen here on the X-Wing. And so now I'm just going to start looking at this from an angle. Okay, I'm going to solo this out. And in fact, let's not solo this right now. Let's do this. I'm going to use V3. Okay, and I'm going to say I don't want this shown in V3, but what I do want is let's show the nose so I can see where that lives in space. And then let's show, let's see, we want to show there's the wings. All right. Let's go back to V1. Let's just select that. So I know, okay, window. Let's go to 3 and turn that on as well. So let's have the window on and this shape on, right? So I want this. I want to be able to at least start seeing this, okay, as well. Do I need anything else on? We don't need the cannons on right now. Okay, so this is the point of the V1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can have different views. So I can actually go back, show me everything, right? And in fact, I probably wouldn't want this on in this view. I'd probably want this. And then I can go V3, and then it's only showing me this part that I kind of want to play with and paint with now, right? So that's kind of the goal of this. So what I want to do now is I'm going to start looking at what is it do I need to put in this model and start looking at things. So it has a line going all the way through it. So now this is going to be the beauty of this, is it's got a line that's going to follow kind of from more this direction and then just go straight. Okay, I'm just going to go straight all the way through, right through here. So let's switch back to the black. Let's go ahead and fill all of these. So I'm going to do a plugin. I'm going to do Subtool Master. I'm going to do a fill. And I just want to do color. So let's fill what's visible with white. So when I switch to black, the window and the front part stay. They don't become pitch black because that's just no fun for me. All right, so now I'm going to paint with black and go, I want to go straight across all the way to the window like that, right? And then it's got some more lines through. And again, this is a lot of now just, I'm taking a look and I am almost like I'm guessing a little bit here, right? So I want to make kind of a rectangular shape from here to here. I think something like that will be good. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. That looks about what I want. And then I want to come across straight here on both sides. Let's switch to white. And now I can actually erase this. I don't need any of this. So this is kind of why I'm figuring this out. Before I sculpturally do this, I'm also just quickly painting this to see, did I get my everything right, in essence? Did I go the right direction here with the decisions that I made, right? That's really all I'm trying to do here. Okay, that looks good. That's actually good. Okay, they got a little bit of a triangular shape here. Okay, that's good. And then I say down here, I would say let's use down here, we've got a shape that sits, I'm going to say sits right about here, the start of it sits right about here. Then it comes out to about, I'm going to say probably about there, and then go across. Like something like that. And then there's a line right next to it that pretty much goes here. Okay, we don't want that here. All right, and then that line, I think I might have gone too far, honestly. I think I'm a little bit too far. I think this is too far ahead. So let's undo. I think let's go with more around here. And I think it's a little bit bigger. And something like that. And then now something like that. I'm going to go a lot closer. Yeah, something. Yeah, that's feeling a little bit better for me. But then this line actually continues down, all right, into another portion of it. Okay, it stops at a certain point. So it goes from here, and I'd say it's on an angle. Let's do a 30-degree, and right about there. We'll go right about there, I think. Yeah, again, this is why I'm doing it this way. I'm making guesses right now, but I can paint these guesses on. I can get rid of these guesses, right? And then move down the line here with this. It would not even hurt. I think this could even be a little bit different. We'll see. And then I want a kind of a rectangular to here. Okay, I would say I'm going to now switch. I'm going to get rid of actually this. Kind of going to redraw this a little bit. I don't like what's happening here. And then now we are, every time I do this, because I have Sculptures Pro on, right, it's adding tessellation. So what I could do is I could turn Sculptures Pro off right now, and I just want to erase, right? So you could put Sculptures Pro on a shortcut for sure. I can make my draw size obviously bigger, so I can paint, you know, erase faster if I wanted to, right? Because I think these are a little too wide. I think it's a little too wide. So we'll just go get rid of this a little bit. I don't like how wide this is looking. I'm going to go a little bit tighter here. Okay, switch back, size 3, enter. I'm going to go more. Okay, size 3, enter. I want to come in just a little bit. I'm going to go more. I think I want to go more right there. Okay, so let's switch my colors. Make sure I'm going to paint with black. Now I'm going to throw the Sculptures Pro back on. And let's go about right there. Okay, so from here, somewhere along this realm. Interesting. Okay, whoops. I want to go from here to here. So, whoops. Whoops. Something like that, maybe. Might be a little too much. Okay. A little bit better, but still too wide. Lisa does have big. Okay, oops, just dropped my model. Sorry, phone going off threw me off. Okay, that's better. I prefer that. That's better. Okay. Just a little smidge. Okay, this is why I like painting this a little bit real quick. Because then there is a line that's going to go here. Okay, and then put these back in, these triangles back in. Okay, that's a little aggressive. Let's go there. And then a line here, right about there. Okay, that looks good to me. Okay, let's switch now to the side here. That continues on. All right, and then there is a line that's going to follow the cockpit a little bit. That is meeting up with this one. Right, so I think that one might be a little too forward, actually. Just a little bit. I think I want to bring this back here more. I want to go from here to here, I think, a little bit. I want to come back a little bit more like that. Okay, V, erase. Erase this now. Again, I'm not worried about being perfect because this is just me figuring this out, right? This is the point of this, because now I need it to come like this, right? So let me look. Okay, it does a little hitch and then goes. Okay, so it comes down a little bit like this and then comes across like that. Something a little bit like that. And then there is line. So I'm going to be here. This one's got also, let's go back to this. Let's see where my wings are at. Okay. All right. So it's way further forward for sure. I would say it's in line with the cockpit. Okay, so let's go back to 3. All right, so there's going to be, looking at this, there's going to be something in this area where it's going to do straight up like this, right? So let me switch back to black. Straight up and then straight across, something like that, right? And I don't want, well, V, don't want this right now. Okay, let me see. I think it might be a little bit higher. Yeah, it needs to be higher. Definitely higher. Okay, so let's undo this. Let's go again from here. Let's just make this line right now. I'm just gonna make this line that I want right there. Right? So I just want a line right here. And then now I want this to live, I'd say right about here, and it goes straight across. I still think it's too small. We'll go that area. That's not bad. Okay. And then this goes up this direction a little bit. Okay. And then this will go, we'll erase, whoops. We will erase this. We don't need this part of that line now. Okay. Again, I could also do this sculpturally, but I'm just kind of doing it with color for me to figure out all these paneling lines. Okay, so this one goes to here. Whoops. This one's going to go to here. Right? And then this one up here is going to only go so far because then there's a line that comes from here. Again, I'm holding the shift key to come across. And from here, then down like something like that. And then this connects into here. Something like that. Looks good to me. All right, and then there needs to be, at this juncture here, I need 2 lines, kind of one going here. All right, so we'll do it by hand. Okay, the topology is not my friend here. So, yeah, it's not giving me good representation here. So what we'll do is I'm going to hold the shift key and I'm going to drop the intensity way down. Right? And I'm going to add some topology right here. Again, just using Sculptris Pro to my benefit, having dynamic tessellation ability. Now I can put that intensity back up. Right? When I'm holding the shift key as well, which I'm not really using. And then draw size of 3 now again. And then now I'll get some nice lines there, right? The topology didn't support it, so I made it. That's what I'm doing here. Then we need a line, I would say right about here. Okay, again, doesn't look like I have the topology, so shift key, drop the intensity down. Let's just add some topology there. All right, Z intensity back up, Z intensity back up, and then now back down to the draw size of 3 because I don't need any really crazy lines. And then there we go. Okay, that's not bad. That works for me. Okay, and then there's some little triangle, rectangular shape that is following this. So let's go like this, and then it goes up. Goes past that, yep. And then I have another one that's going to go now. The line, a bigger gap. I'm just seeing where this is. This needs to come more this direction. Okay, and then now let me erase this. I don't need this portion. Good. Back to this color. Then there's another line that's going to come right here. Then there's another panel that is kind of following this line of information. So then we got that. There's that panel. Okay, that's all the paneling in the front for the most part on that top section. All right, let's do the bottom section now. Okay, so down here in this one, I'm gonna put another line. I'm gonna go a line right here. Something like that. There's that panel. Okay, let's go back to V1. Let's turn this off. Okay. Start group. Let's see where I have this. Okay, this, I got this somewhere on the little front of that. Just in front. Okay. Now I see the line I'm going to use. So let's go back to V3. Okay, and the line that I want to use is it kind of continues. It's like this one right here. I'm going to kind of continue this down. Oh, need to switch back to black. Right, so once again, don't have enough topology here, right, to support this. So again, holding down the shift key, I'm gonna go with a little bit bigger draw size because I don't want crazy amount. And I'm gonna make my intensity really low so I don't actually erase the paint, right? I just wanna have some more topology here to play with. I could also mask off and do tests. I could also mask off and do some other things as well, but I think for what I'm doing, this is good enough. All right, so shift key, put it back up, right? Draw size back down to 3. There we go, we're in black. All right, and then now we want this line to continue on down. Continue on down the line, there we go. And if we want, I can fix this, just, we don't want that blurriness. Again, it's not really relevant for me if it's blurry or not. It's fine for it to be blurry. I'm not converting this into anything, right? So totally fine. And then this is going to follow this down. So I'm going to put a paneling here. Get that. All right. Good to go there. Okay, so now I need to fit some paneling in from this line to a line back here. So I'm going to make a line that goes from here to there. Okay, once again, not enough resolution here for this. Okay, so I'm going to hold the shift key. Okay, I'm going to show a different way. We could also do something like this, where we mask this off, and then in geometry, you have something called tessellate. So I'm going to do a save next. Okay. Hey, Karen. Nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. So we can tessellate, and then you can tessellate, and you see it only tesselates that area, but then I can change the polygon sizes here, right? So I can go smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. See, then it's already giving me more topology here for me to play with for what I want with Sculptris Pro ability, right? So good enough for me. So that when now I make this line, right, I'm getting a cleaner line. And then just so you can see. So I just use Tessimate to, in essence, doing like local division, triangulation, local division, in essence, is what I did there. Okay, just quick way, right? So I could use what I've been doing with the smooth brush, or I can do stuff like this. Okay, because then this goes up to here, and then there's a panel that's going to come to about a little bit past where the windows and now that is. So it's going to come, again, let me switch to V, draw that out. See, it's because my draw size is so small that this is causing more than I want it to cause, right? So let's inverse that. Let's tessimate that section. There we go. So I'm tessimating in sections here. Tessimate sections, and then now I can erase this. Do this. Okay. That looks pretty good. Right. And then, okay, so from here to here, it's going to be a line that's straight across, and then another one that's straight across, but up more. Straight across like that. All right. I'm going to probably put a paneling line now that just keeps following that. Okay. Then I want one now in the middle of this to create a panel line there. Okay, good, good, good. Then I want a panel that's going to make kind of like a cube look shape right here. Something more like that. Okay, good. And then in the back, I'd say we want like a rectangle-ish shape that comes like that. Okay, that looks good. So it takes care of those panels on the bottom, panels on the top. Boy, you guys are very active today, eh? Lots of comments coming through. Again, let me know if you need any questions. You know, this is, Lisa needs braces moments. You know, the old, look up here, look up here, look up here, look up here, look at me, look at me. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Love it. Great movie reference. Because, guys, the whole reason why I'm here right now, too, is for the users. Okay? Love it. Love my fun stuff here. All right. Now, let's get in the panel in the middle here. Let's see what's going on here. There's going to be other shapes and stuff that happen as well. I'm just concerned about the panel is all I'm caring about right now. Nothing else. Nothing else, really. Okay, so panel, panel, panel. All right, so we are going to need a panel here that's sitting right about, I'm going to just go right about there. Okay, that's actually good enough. I think that's good enough. Then it comes to this panel back here to right here. Right? And then I'm going to make this line up with that. Again, I'm hitting the V key. And so I want that look there. And then again, this is now got, I'm going to make a little thin panel here. I'm going to sculpturally do this, okay? Eventually. But I'm just trying to have the paint right now be my guides for when I sculpturally do this. And I find this just so invaluable. And then I can visually see everything before, and then I'm just going to end up copying the sculpt in essence. All right, so one thing I do see now is I'm going to, I think, carry the panel through. So this comes to here. I'm going to go right about here. I'm going to put another one there. Then I'm going to come across and now do that all the way. And then do this one all the way. Just something like that. Okay. And then I'm going to erase it to a certain point. So I'm going to say it only goes to about here. Let's see how accurate I am to that kind of. Yeah, I'd say pretty close. I'd say it could go a little bit more this direction. I'm gonna even go just a bit more, like this. Okay, and then V, and then I don't want this paneling line in here. No thank you. No thank you. Do 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 do. Right. Gotta sing while you sculpt, right? Okay, there. That panel is like that. That panel is like that. Beautiful. Okay, this continues. We need now a panel line that's going to follow down through here. Give me something going through there. I need to actually switch to black. Come on, people. All right, and then there's going to be a bunch of shapes up in here. Nothing down here. And then there's two paneling lines here. Like, let's go here. Whoops. And let's go here. Let's do that. That looks good. Right, and again, guys, hey, let me know if you need something. It's always fun to have questions from you. Have some interaction. I'm always game for that. Otherwise, you guys are going to be living in my head for the whole stream, which I don't think we want that. I don't think we want to be living in my wackiness this whole time, for sure. Whoops. So let me know if you have questions about anything. Happy to help in any way that I can. All right, let's do something like that. And then a very, very small continuation here. And then straight across. Like that. Okay, cool. Right, so you can see it coming. It almost looks like Tron now too. Speaking of this, it's really giving me that 80s Tron look. Tron. All right. I'd say that's pretty good. I got all the panels that I would want so far up to this point. Let's continue now towards the bottom. Let's take a look at the bottom. Let's see what continues. Missing the landing gear. Darn it. We'll have to make it up. All right. So I want this line to continue through all the way. So I want this. Let's continue this line all the way through. Like that. All right. That one does not continue through. It stops. Let's see. This. Oh, it does continue through. Okay, I'm seeing. We could definitely, I think that'll work actually. Let's do that. So it's only going to continue a little bit through. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this through to about there. Then come across. Say right about there. And then up. Okay, again, let's add some topology. All right, let's look at this. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit bigger. My intensity way down. Let's just add some topology here. Okay, intensity right back up. And then I'll turn this off. Make sure our size is consistently size 3 is what I've been using. And then this is gonna come here and come across. Let's see how that's looking. Okay, that looks good. Okay, that looks good. I think that's where they're going there. Good. There is landing gear that's going to have another piece. I don't think I want to worry about that so much. Let's now establish the rest of this. So let's establish this. So this is going to actually continue all the way through. Right, so again, let's go ahead and let's just mask out this area. Let's inverse this, right? So that's the only thing that's masked. I'm just going to tessimate. Good enough. right? And then I want to now, again, continue down from here. That line continues. All right, and now I need to start making some equidistant rectangular shapes. So like from, whoops, from here. No, don't like that. Like that, and then another one. Like that. That's not bad. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this instead, and then split it. Visually easier to split it this way. Yeah, there we go. That's better. I like that much better. Much better. Okay. And then let's take a look at this. I don't have the landing gear yet, but it's going to go all the way here. Let's even paint with a different color. So the landing gear is going to come way up here. It's going to come more in this. Then it's going to come, what is it? I guess that's not bad, right? It's going to come, so to come all the way to here. I'd say something like right around there, then to there, and then straight across. Something like that is the landing gear. Yeah, that's a pretty good, that's not bad, right? Again, taking advantage of the painting. You know, I know my red will be something else, right? Hey, what's up, KDR Burka? Hi, join the stream. Hope you're doing well. Doing well. Thank you for asking. I am not texture painting. I'm making an X-wing. So what I'm doing is there are a lot of panels that are on the X-wing, right? There's a lot of panels. So the body itself has a ton of paneling on it. Okay, and so instead of sitting there trying to, I do this when I'm retopologizing sometimes. I will paint the topology out because it's so easy to paint black and then erase in white. Paint black and erase in white. Paint black and erase in white kind of a thing. So I'm taking that same concept, and what I'm doing is I'm putting all the panels on this. That's what I'm doing. So that way I can visually see, and then when I want to sculpt them, I'm just going to literally trace over everything I did. And I know I'm not oh no moments with sculpturally, because painting is just easier to undo, redo. However, again, I could do this sculpturally as well and use morph targets, but I'm just trying to show different ways that we could attack things in ZBrush, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing here. I'm painting some panel lines is what I'm doing. And then so this is going to have something that starts out wide like this, comes about there, and then comes across. Right, and then it has someone inside here, whoops, just a line here. Something like that. Alright, yeah, and then I'm gonna go, okay, so here is the key thing. Okay, this is too wide. Okay, this is good. I'm noticing this. Right, so what I'm going to do is actually use this line here. Oops, because this needs to come across and sit about there. Then come across like that. And then there'll be another line here. And then there'll be a line right there. I'm going to go even further out. I'm going to keep going. I'm gonna take a little bit tighter of a, like that. We'll go a little bit tighter across. All right, and then come there, and then now this is what comes out to, like, oops, something like that. I want to go wider though. Okay, so yeah, I've gone too far. I've gone too far. I want to go here. Then we can go across, and then we can come across like that. Okay, and then this is going to continue and give me something more like that. Kind of want to do... Let's not get married here to this. Something more in that realm. And then this has shape here, and then here. Something more like that. I don't like what I'm making here. I'm not a fan of this. Okay. So it definitely needs to come here, and then just have an angle for this, but I don't like this angle. I'm gonna go more like that. That's better for me. And then it has going across, right, and then goes in. So let's go in like this. Then it comes across, let's say like this, then does, whoops, then does an angle like that. Okay. And then so I'm going to erase this now. And go more. Okay, and then let's see for color. And then this lives more like this, comes like this, then goes across like that. Something more like that. Yeah, that's better. That's more what I'm looking for. Let me switch back to black. And then just above this, I want a line that comes across like that. Golden. That works for me, works for me. Good to go, good to go. Okay, and then now I want to continue this line now, also all the way through. All right, let's see what we got here for topology. We are going to need to also mask this up here. Let's just do all this. Let's inverse it. Let's tessellate it. Golden. Okay. And then that way I can continue this line all the way through. Golden. Alright, that's understood. This is because I need this also tessemated, this part right here. You can tessemate that. Right, and then now this line can go all the way through. Okay. And then that is creating some panels that are close to this. I'm going to go up a little bit higher. Whoops. Go up. Hit the, again, I'm using the shift key. And then there's those panels. Okay. Digging that. Hola, Chris Baxter. What's happening, man? Do polygroup it. We are waiting to watch it. You've never done polygroup it? I'm actually not going to be using polygroup for this. I'm making scribe lines. I'm not going to use polygroups for this. I'm going to sculpture probably put in my scribe lines. If I wanted to do polygrouping, I could, but it's a great suggestion, right? What I'm building is setting things up for polygroup it as well. It's a great call out. Entertainment Jerk 6483. Okay. Katie Berkeley. Okay, you see what I'm doing now, what I'm trying to do here. Okay, good. Let's continue the bottom now, all the way through. All right, this is going to help me continuing to establish things. So, oops. Okay, this is that line. which needs to be further back. Okay. So this is actually going to help me later on down the road now that I look at this. Okay. So I need this panel to have an angle. So it's going to be really close to this. This also could be off a little bit. But we need now, see where I'm going with this. Okay, it's supposed to be here to here. Okay. So then this one goes from here, kind of makes an angle like that. Something like that for sure. And then this continues on. So what we're going to need now at the peak, we're going to have a panel here, line here. So we're going to put a panel line here. Okay, at that peak portion. And then in here, you follow this to here, and then it goes up into that. This is going to come down into here. Okay, and then in here, we connect from here to here. Something like that. All right, and then this one is kind of rounding across, like so. This will be. Let's say something like that. And then there's two panel lines in here that we're going to add. We're going to put one here and one right next to it. Like that. Let's center that more. So let's go here and here. Have that be a little bit more centered. Okay. Just trying to survive, Chris. I hear you, man. Me too. That is it, man. Just trying to survive. You nailed it, right? Okay, and then I want a line here. Don't want that. Yeah, I can say I'll go that, stay that wide. Then, you know what, I'm going to put a panel in the back so I can start seeing this. I want, in essence, this is the back portion, right, of what we got going, like this. Because then I want a panel line that goes from here all the way to here. Something like that. And then I need a panel line that's going from here to here. Yes. Maybe. I think this might be, maybe, is it? I think it's too wide. We'll keep it. I'm going to put another one. I think I did this one too wide. I want more, oops, more, I think, right here. Come on. Work with me. I think I want that instead. Yes. And then we're going to go from here up. Let's just take it to here right now. That, and then another one that's right next to it. Like this. It goes to there. All right, and let's switch colors, but white, and I don't want any of this. Go away, I don't want ya. Do 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 dee 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 dee. We erase this. Good enough. There. When I got that, switch back to black. We got this, and then I want another panel right there. This larger chunk. Perfect. That's what I want. And then there's another panel right here that's following this. I want that. Okay, and then these continue up to where it'll meet the wing. So then these continue up into the wing. That continues up into the wing, continues up into the wing, continues up into the wing. All right, those continue up. And then same thing for these. These will continue up into the wing. Okay, so then this is going to continue up. And for now, continue up. I think I'm going to have some issues here, but that's okay. We'll see. Yes and yes, yes and yes. Okay, I'm going to switch back to red. There is a panel that's not necessarily a scribe line paneling that lives. Now let's take a look at this from here, this point of view. Okay, so that's this. Just seeing what this is making. Okay, so right after this, right after it, we are going to have, I'll probably say it goes from here to here. So let's go. There we go. Let's use that. Let's use the top of this. Then it probably does this. Then comes down. And then comes back across. Something like that. There's a panel there that lives there. Just want to have another thing to gauge in and take a look and follow. Okay. And that's looking too big. It's too big. It's too big. Okay, so this needs to come back even more a little bit. Oops. I want it, actually, keep this white. We need this black again. I think we'll come back just a little bit more in that world. And get rid of this. Something like that. That's good. And then this red panel needs to live more closer like this. Something like that. That's better. And let's pick black again. And then we'll continue that panel up into there. All right. And then I would say this one I want more extreme. So let's switch to white. And let's erase this. And we're erasing, and we're erasing. I'm going to go a little more extreme on this panel. I don't think I'm cutting it just right. so let's see. This is going all the way to this. I said that's not bad, but I want it to go a little bit more. When I'm going here, I want it to come down a lot more. Something more like that. And because then it looks like it comes across. And now it comes across. I'm going to have it stop. Okay, so let's have it stop. Let's do this. Let's turn on. Where are you? In this view now, I want to turn something on. These guys. Because it's right there, right by the jets. Panel's just, I think, a little too big. Okay. Alright, so it's not bad. It's not too shabs. It's going to be a little too long. So we want this line to end right around here. Okay. Let's turn this off. So I want a line to come straight across and end right there. Have that. The red lines are just me indicators for me where there's other parts like a line, like there's another panel that lives here that's like separated. It comes off almost like as an extrusion. So I'm just using the red paint to identify that for me. The black lines are going to be like the scribe lines that you would put on hard surface stuff to make it look like, you know, that has all these cut lines in it. And the red is just there's other pieces, i.e. if you look at my camera, see right there, or here, this would be better. So you see the gaping hole at the front? That's actually a landing gear, right? That's a landing gear piece. It's completely separate. So I'm just putting red paint to kind of justify that, where that would live. And so it's the same thing here. There's a panel that lives here. So it actually does this. Let me. So I'm just using the red as an indicator for me, just so I know where this has got to live, in essence, right? Where that panel might live. That's it. That's all the red is for me. Just give me a panel indication to help me. That's all. That's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And we'll see. I think that panel I'm going to have to manipulate and play with a little bit more to figure that out. But that's all it is. Nothing else really except for that. Okay, we want white. But it's a good question to ask. Great question. I'm going to now, we need here to here, and then split down the middle. Something like that. We need that panel. All right, this ends here, comes up a little bit, and then it meets a panel line. Okay, so this panel line, I'm going to continue this up like this for me right now. Okay, and then it's going to now angle back to meet this and then come down. Gonna do that, but let me make this be a little bit cleaner. Just keep it straight. Keep it straight where I can. Keep it straight where I can. And then it's going to come up and meet R2 and everybody. So let's put on put this on, because this is going to be a good factor for me, because then I want a panel line that goes from here. Okay, so I want to go here to here and then across like that, and then I want to do that again, but I also want, there's a panel line that I'm going to have come all the way across up here to there, right? And then this is going to be panel lines as well. It's an arrow. I don't want an arrow. Oh man, this brush is giving me headaches. There. Coming across like this, and then this would continue up into here. There, that panel would continue. That's good, that's good. And then now I would come across like this, and then follow this angle down. So it's a 45-degree angle. Then I want to follow kind of the cockpit a little bit here. So I'd want to come across here, and then I'm going to follow the cockpit down, and then down to here, and then straight down. Something like that. Like this. Okay, and then I want some lines. I'm going to put some lines up here now that are going to live. I'm going to go from here to here, and then here to here. Something like that. And then the second line, the top line, let's continue it all the way through. So we're going to go like this. Like that, all the way through, like that. Right, yes. That's this. Then we need, right about where R2 would be sitting, we need a line here. Right, so I need a line that goes right here, and then another one right next to it. Goes right there. Let's do something like that. And then let's do another one further on down the line. Let's go right about there. Do that. Then I need one that is going to just be right after that. I'd say right about here, and it goes to about there. And then that's that. Okay, let me finish off the top up here. Then I need something that's going to be on an angle from here. So we're going to go on an angle. I'll go a little bit more extreme, I guess. Like this. And then we're going to go straight across. And then now this one is not symmetrical. So we're going to have a line that goes something like this. To this, and then to this. And then there we go. And that is pretty much, so far, most of the scribe lining. So let's continue this down the line here, right? Okay, yes, 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 yes. So this, I want to continue this line actually. This is a line I want. Nope, I turned symmetry off. So let me make sure I have symmetry back on. Just at this point, why not? Right, and then just continue this through. Yep. Okay. This goes all the way through. Okay, I need to go deeper, I think. I'm going to go deeper. Okay, this line now needs to go a lot deeper. I'd say I go probably right about there. And we don't need this one now. That's going to be a piece of topology instead. We don't need that, right? We don't need that. Let's go ahead and switch to red. And I'm going to do a save next. Let's save them and go along. Okay, let's see. Questions. Hey, Paul, I have some very detailed plans for the X-Wing from a prop makers forum. If you're interested, I can get them to you. Sure, Shane. Yeah. Everything helps, right? Sure. I'd love to see that. Absolutely. Thank you. I'm all for it. Definitely. Yes. I'm doing my best, but I don't know how accurate, right, necessarily that I will be. But, you know, accurate enough for me to put in my office and hang it above me and having a battle scene happening above me. So, in that sense, it's good enough. All right, so that's a panel, panels, panels, and panels. Okay, so the whole body, these are the panels I'm going to sculpt in, right? And I've kind of, like I said, I've already got it figured out, right? So I'm really figuring this out now. And I would say it looks like I got the body pretty much the right size. Let me just finish up in the back here and see maybe what other paneling do we want to put in here. Okay. This is where it kind of goes asymmetrical a little bit in the back. Yeah, it gets at least on this one, it gets pretty asymmetrical actually. All right, so let's go back to black. All right, and I am going to, all right, I'm going to turn off. Interesting, it does get pretty asymmetrical now that I've seen this. Okay, it actually doesn't have this on the one side. And it doesn't have this one on this side. Okay, so let's start throwing some asymmetry stuff in here. What it has instead, on this side, if we go way down here, I'd say right about there, it has a little sliver of a rectangle. We can't have symmetry on for this. Something like that. All right. And then I would say all the way in, all the way to the end, all the way to the end. Okay, and then this has lines that go right here. Okay, so we're gonna just go here to here, and then here to here. Okay, it has that. And that's good, that's good. Then it has a line. It's interesting that it just stops, but we'll see how this looks. I kind of just have it stopping, which is interesting. So they got something like from here to about there, and then to here, and then just stops. I'll have to see if I want to do that too. I might not want to do that. But we will see how it looks sculpturally as well, and see what I prefer. All right, asymmetry there. And then this has got another one. Another wonky ending one that just goes from here. Goes from here to here. Kind of just ends. We'll see. I might change it up. This is where I might be, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing a little bit here. Okay, and then here, I would say, okay, that goes straight across. So I would say it goes straight across like this. Like that. And then I need a line that comes straight down and ends there. So I'm gonna say it's a little too low. I'm gonna come up a lot higher. I'm gonna go more there. And then I'll do something like this, but more in that realm. And then do something like this, out like this, and then down. Okay, like that. For those panels. Yes. And then that's it. And my friends, that is it. I've lost, let's see, I think I've lost the tip. So I'm going to need to pull up an image and see what kind of paneling is on the front tip of this. Right, because I've lost some along the way. This little model I'm using, I've lost some pieces along the way. So I'm missing the tip of this, which I don't think I have anymore. Who knows what happened to that? Okay, so let me see what kind of panels there are. So I'd say this is it. This is all the paneling that I'm going to do, right? So if I go back to V1, right, we'll switch back to this. Let's so there, that's what it's going to look like, right? So those lines are giving me the panel in essence, okay? So I'm going to use this as kind of like a referencer for when I go to sculpt the panels, right? Because I kind of figured them out painterly, which works for me, right? I don't have a problem with it. Totally fine with it. Okay. We'll see. I might add a little bit to it, but this is, I mean, in essence, I'm using the reference of this one piece. That doesn't mean this is 100% accurate to it. It's just what I'm using as a reference, and I think it's pretty good. It's not bad. All right, and now I can look at this and go, okay, we are starting to come together. Now, this piece here, right? This piece right here. Let's get an image really quick. All right, there it is. Need my mouse. Hold on. Let's go and really quickly pull up X-Wing front reference. Oops. Actually, I think now that I think about it, I have this in a spotlight. I don't think there's too much paneling. I think there's probably a line of panel, like one panel line, I think would be good enough. It's tough to see. Alright, so if you got that, this is where I definitely could use that sheet if you got it, right? Because I kind of want to see, what does the bottom do? Just have to read. I think I'm just going to do one panel. Okay, so I think I'm going to do a panel that goes straight down. Okay. So, all right, so now let me sculpturally do what I'm thinking about this. Okay, so first things first, let's take this nose, let's copy it, let's duplicate it, rename it. I'm going to call this nose cut. Okay. And then looking at this, I don't know if it's this wide. I think that's a little too wide. We'll take a look and see if I can find a good image here really quick. In fact, okay. Let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So I guess it is pretty wide. Okay. It's wider than I thought. All right. Okay. All right. We're going to take now ZModeler. Okay, I'm going to come out so you guys can just see. I'm going to take, let's crease this edge. Let's crease this edge so we have that. We'll crease this edge. No, we don't want to crease that edge. We don't care about that. We're going to take this, this, and this. We're going to take that. Okay. And then I only want to keep this of the cut. So I'm going to delete the rest. Okay, and for sake of, let's save next. Okay. Now I don't see your guys' chat. Let me get that back up. Okay, there we go. So Shane, is this like a link? Because you can share the link in the chat. If not, you can email it to me. So here is my email address. .net. Okay, there. You can email it to me if you want as well. All right, so let's delete this hidden. Modify. Delete hidden. All right, so dynamically, watch. We're going to do this. But no smoothing, but we're going to add some thickness to this. Right, for now. And then turn off polyframe. And then this becomes a subtract. So now this is my piece that I'm going to use to subtract this, right? So no symmetry, boom. I'd say definitely isn't, it's more like that. I think it's more in that realm. Okay, and then I think it goes a lot deeper. Let's see. This is why I missed the piece that I had. Yeah, it looks like, I would say it's deeper. Let's see what's this one look like. Oh, here's the actual one that went in auction. Yeah, it's a ton deeper. For sure. Yes, 100%. Okay, so this is following the curvature. I actually don't think I want to follow the curve that much. We'll see. I don't think I do. I'm not going to do that. I don't think so. But we're going to go a ton deeper. I'd say it's more in that realm, right? Of how deep it goes. For sure, I think. Maybe even a little bit more. I can go a little bit more since I'm going to... that's too much. Yeah. Okay, I kind of like that. I'm okay with that. All right, and I'm going to move it forward a little bit more. Now we'll turn on dynamic. Okay, I'm going to apply, let's see, I want to apply this. It doesn't go all the way. Okay, so we're going to apply this. Of course. Reopen. There is a bug that I need to look at. Apply is creating a problem. Okay. This is something I got fixed already, but I'm not in the fixed version. Okay. All right. Now, the more I think about it, I'm actually better off. Here, let me just duplicate this. Let me center it. Let me make sure it's centered. I'm better off just using a cube, actually. and just doing this. And we'll crease it all, because then I can use the topology. Yes, let's do this. Let's crease this. All right, and then now shape it. It's going to sit around there. It's going to sit here. Let's make it a lot more compact. This will change. And then this way, when I turn this into a subtract, right, we're going to call this, rename this nose cut. And then now turn on live boolean, and now it's a subtract, and this is more like it. Okay, this is more what it's going to do. Then I would say along the way here, we're going to have some more edge loops. Okay, so I'm going to use slicing here. Slice curve. I'm going to say, okay, let's put an edge loop slice right here so it's more defined. And then I would say I need another one here. Right, somewhere around in that world. And then let's make another one. Let's go right about there. Okay, let's do a crease all, so I get all this so I can really look at this. All right. I would say the gap, let's go a little bit closer. Don't be shy. Let's go right about there. All right, and then this is going to live. In fact, it's living kind of where I want it to live. All right, and then I would say maybe a little bit deeper. So maybe just a smidge deeper. That's not looking, I'd say that's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good. And then I'm going to bring it forward just a little bit because I'm going to do a scribe line, okay? I say right about there is not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay. And then I don't want this to be, oops. We don't need it to be this big. It doesn't need to be way out there like that. That'll tighten it up, start tightening it up a little bit too for us. All right, and then I am going to, it doesn't do this much roundness, so we need to make some topology here for this. So I'm going to ZModeler. I'm going to insert halfway through, and I'm going to have that be a creased edge. So we'll do that. Now we symmetrically could do that, and now we're a little bit closer to what we want. And then I would say it looks like it does take on the curvature a little bit. I don't think it's straight down, right? I think that's probably, I've gotten way too aggressive now with this, I would say. So I could go, you know, the route I could go is I could go this and then just start rotating this up. Just do something like that. Instead of trying to make it, I would say, let's go something like that. And, you know, I feel like, you know, this is an intake kind of a thing, right? So I think some of it's getting a little too sharp for me. Okay, so I want to see if we get rid of these creased edges, how round does that really get? And then we don't need this to be so tall, right? So I'm going to make sure I'm going to hold Alt, so it's snapping, and then now I can adjust it, right, to the height. I don't need it to be that tall. That's crazy. All right, that's a little bit better. Okay, that's not bad. I kind of now want to put an edge loop. I want to see, so insert, we won't do a half. But if I put an edge loop like right about there, and then now these faces, what if I extrude these? So we'll Q-mesh it instead. I prefer Q-meshing. Do something like this. And then this I want creased. I'm going to crease those. Whoops, I'm going to crease this, crease this to match, crease this to match. So now we got something like this. What does that look like? I want to see. I don't know if there's a little lip there, but I kind of like the little lip, personally. I'm a bigger fan of the little lip. I think now it might be just a touch too wide. I think I want to come in to be within these lines. Something more like that. Okay. I say that is more what I want. Yes. I'm going with yes. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I don't know if we'll keep the lip. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't keep the lip. I don't know. What do you guys think? Lip? No lip. What I mean by lip is this little lip right here I added. Making the printing more complicated too, in all honesty. Right? I think for the time being, I'll keep it. All right, and so now this piece, okay, if I apply this, oh, see, there's a bug with I apply. Dang it, apply's got a bug. I think I fixed this. That's a major one. Come on, I gotta reload what I was working on. X-wing, 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 X-wing. Okay. Looks like I need to remake the cube part. Yep, I need to redo the cube. I lost it. Alright, no biggie. We'll go back to this. Alright. I'm just seeing what you guys are saying. Okay, so let's do this again. Okay, I'm going to center this. Let's replace this with the cube. Dynamics. Oh, wait. I need to first duplicate this. Duplicate, rename. Oh, wait, no, this is cancel. This one has the duplicate version. So I do want to replace this with the cube. Let's go here, here, here for now. We're going to do again a crease all for now. And now this needs to be a lot smaller in every avenue possible. Okay, and so now this needs to be a subtract. All right. Probably want to be around that deep again. Let's make sure we're centered. Probably out a little bit more like this. Okay. Much better. And then now we want to make some edge loops. So we don't need this to be way out here. That's good enough. Okay. And we don't need it to be as tall. There we go. And then now let's go ahead. I'll just mirror mold it over. Let's go Z modeler. Let's add insert an edge loop here. Okay, symmetrically, let's insert edge loops here. Let's put an edge loop down to there. And then now this is what we got. back to that. And then I want this to live right where I got this happening. And then start rotating that up. Something more like that. And it needs to move further down the line. Something more in that realm. Alright, and I'm going to probably, I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller. Something like that. And let's bring it up just a bit. Something more like that. And let's again put it here. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper with it. More like there, like that. Okay. Good. Works for me. What do you guys think? Lip, no lip? Now that I've redone this. I think the lip added a little something to it, eh? Personally. Up. I see I still had stuff masked off here. There we go. Okay, and then now this piece will have, so let's turn dynamic off. Let's do a normal divisions now. Make it real topology. Okay, so this is 2 million. And I'm going to make a scribe line that kind of follows this here. So let's go back to paint. Let's see what this will look like. Let's fill it with the white. Now let's select the black, right? So that is our main color. I can hit the V key to swap between them, right? I'm going to go brush size 3. And let's see if I put now, symmetrically put a scribe line right through here. Something like that. And do I want, I think, I want it to continue down like this. Start from there. There. You make that one of my scribe lines. And I think this, I'm going to move further this direction. Get it closer. Yep. I'm thinking that. There we go. All right. So I have a lot of stuff blocked out. I'm still gonna need to fix the cockpit a little bit. I need to fix that just a bit. And get where I need it to be. If you're printing it separate, no lip. All right, you're feeling no lip, eh? Because they're printing. Yeah, I'm going to be 3D printing this, right? It's just an added thing. Yeah, my thought process was like, I like the lip, but then it's another thing to 3D print. You got to pay attention to the 3D printing. Which do I really want to worry about that? I think we got it. I think now we've got everything figured out, but the cockpit is the last thing that I'm going to get figured out for me. I still need to do a little bit on that. Not much, just a bit. Just to get that hammered out a little bit more. But I think everything else, R2 fits. All these pieces fit. my back, all the pieces fit right in here. The only other thing I think I saw that maybe I'm going to play with is this angle a little bit. I want to look at that. Let's see. I think it just needs to, this needs to come out a little bit more. I think what I got going here is, okay, actually probably can come out even more. I think I got it spreading too far, so I'm gonna have to fix that too. I think this part's too extreme. We need this to come. I need these points, I think, here to come more in line like this. So let's take all of these. Definitely comes up a little bit more here. And then keep coming. And then keep coming. Oops. I think there's a lot more to it like that. And then which means, I think, let's see, that's making the triangle there, so I don't want to get rid of that loop. I think these now also come forward a lot more to make the angle be more like this. I think that is more accurate. Now that I've painted it, this is something I just noticed when I was painting. I didn't like what was going on. And I would say this, let's look at it just like this. Okay, let's take this vertex, and it definitely needs to have a sharper to like that type of thing. Right, and I think this right now is a little too soft. Alright, so let's brush the modeler. Let's insert an edge loop here, so that's just a little bit more harsh, and I think there needs to be another edge loop in here. Yeah, something more like that. That's a little bit more sharp. It should be a little bit more sharp. Should be more noticeable. So if I take everything off, there. And yeah, it keeps it pretty consistent all the way through. Definitely flattens out, I think, a little bit more. Really sharp there. Kind of slowly flattens out. But it's still subtle. So what if I now, I want to see modeler. Let's go creasing. Let's uncrease this. It's still there, but it's more subtle. Because it's really sharp up here, but not so much walking down the X-wing. There, more like that. And then maybe now these I slide, kind of play with this a little bit. There, I think I'm going to go that route. It's still there, but it's just not as strong. And this I'm not worried about. There's going to be a landing gear portion there too. So I'm not too worried about that. I might want to keep the sharpness on this edge, maybe. And this edge. Kind of just keep that sharpness through there. Okay. Now we are talking. Right, so when I go to do the scribe lines, right? I'm going to be able to do this, the painted one, right? And then throw on transparency and see, I can see my lines. And then I'll sculpturally copy that on the good version of my model that I have. Right? So this is kind of what my thought process was here. Okay? This is kind of what I was thinking about doing. So like if I go here to view 4, it's going to be more like this. I'm only going to be looking at this. And then just copying these lines with a sculpting brush. And then there you go. Right? And then I figured it all out already. And then it's working for me already. So I am happy with that. We are good. Save next. Okay, saving a version. You want me to try polygroup it with the painted one? I don't know how well it's going to do. We can try. All good, JK. It's making me laugh. I don't. Let's try it. You want to try it? Let's try it. Let's just, for giggles, let's just clone this so it's only the painted version. Okay, so realistically, we need to make sure everything paintedly is painted off, right? So some of this I didn't continue the lines to because it wasn't really my ultimate goal, right? When I started doing this. So we need to make sure like this is closed off. Like everything needs to be 100% closed off, right? With the paint, like this one's not going to do anything. This has got to get way more closed off. This has got to get closed off. All right, those will all fail. Like those aren't going to do anything. Those aren't going to do anything. Like I want to at least probably this go from here to here. And close this off. Let me do that again. And let me replay. Okay. Like this one's pretty faint. I don't think some of these are going to work, all honesty. This one isn't closed off. I don't think this is closed off enough. Some of these are going to work fine, some of these not so much. Like this isn't closed off. Okay, there's not enough topology in here. So let me do it slowly. And what am I? It's also 3 million polygons now too. Okay, so these are no bueno. So these definitely need more topology. So definitely let's go ahead and tessimate it. And then now we'll get a smoother brush stroke for these. Right, so this is in essence, this is what's happening. I don't know, we'll see. I don't know, 3, and then it's pretty dense, so I don't know how well it's going to do. But I like your thought process. Let's give it a try. Probably would have gone a little bit thicker. Okay. Let's just close this off. Let's close it off here. Let's close that off. Let's close it off here just so we get polygroups there. All right, let's see what it does. I don't know, but we'll find out. So the new polygroup it has now also an intensity slider. So we shall see. Here, let's go no polygroups. Let's turn off line. So let's see what it does. I don't know. Here, wait. Did we save this? Let me just save this. I'm just going to save this just to play safe. here because it is a little bit more dense. So we want this one. Could be one that can give us polygroups. I would probably want to use the, oh my god, look that. Hey man, polygroup is impressive. It pretty much did a really bang up job here. Right? So see, this is another reason why I can paint it. I can use it. Look at that. I'm pleasantly impressed how well polygroup it did this. Very, very impressed actually. This needs to be more concrete paintedly here, right? This needs to be a lot more solid of paint here for this to come out. Definitely. Even this, I'm surprised this even came out that well. I'm presently surprised. Polygroup it. Very nice. Okay. There you go. Actually kicked that out pretty. It almost got everything I want here pretty much. That's pretty impressive. This one, not so much. So this one, it's having a hard time figuring this one out. Let me just give it some more love. Okay, up here is pretty brutal. So let me unmask this and then tessimate it. So that way I can now paint a lot better solid black lines. One key, right? And then go from here to here. Just give me something a little bit more concrete, painterly, to give me the polygroup that I want. But otherwise, it's done a really, really impressive job. Polygroup it from paint. Okay. This one still hasn't figured out, and I don't have paint coming across here. So I need this. This one it doesn't like, so let's kind of make it be a little bit more known what I want on both sides. Something like that, like a little more concrete here. Hey man, this is why I like this little plugin we made / program. There we go. All right, we've got something. Nice. All right, and then since we're doing it, might as well close this off as well. All right, and then there you go. And that way this in the middle would become its own polygroup as well. Polygroup it from Polypaint. There you go. Which is not a bad idea because you can just use panel loops and then boom, you got panels. It didn't figure this one out because it didn't close this end here. It didn't close that off completely. All right. Let's append this now to this one. Painted body. Let's do an insert. Painted body. Okay, so this one we can delete now. We don't need this one. And then there's the painted body one now, with everything that we've got. And then polygroup it with paint. You can sleep peacefully now. I love it. It's pretty cool, right? That's a very powerful feature, honestly, right? I live by polygroups, so I love where your thought process is. And now you can colorfully see actually all your polygrouping and the panels and where I'm going to be putting all my scribe line, my panel lines in there. It's going to look awesome. Excited. All right. Okay, let me see. Nice. You can sleep peacefully now. Okay. I unfortunately have to get going. I will not be streaming next week. I'll be away, but I'll try and stream the following week. So next week, no, actually, I can't. The next 2 weeks, I can't stream. So this will be my last stream for June. Let's put it that way. This is my last stream for June. I'm not going to be able to stream for the rest of June. I'll be traveling. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. Is there any questions that I missed before we call this done? And call it a day. And it's a Friday for people. You know, there's probably got things you guys want to do as well instead of listening to me trying to talk and ramble about an X-Wing. But we're getting somewhere now. We're going to get this finished. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for sure. So I'm going to take a minute to make sure that you guys don't have any outstanding questions that I may have missed. So tell your friends. Again, I usually streams on Fridays at 11, right? That's my streaming time. I stream whenever I can. I have a Friday that I can stream. I stream. So it's what I do. Okay, so this should be a lot fun to see this finish. And again, I'm 3D printing this, and then I'm gonna do a battle scene above me is my goal. So it should be a lot of fun. All right. Well, I am Paul Gaboury with Max on ZBrush. Thank you for joining, and I am out.